Kenny Bednarek just turned Rabat into a warning for every 200-meter star. The college kids had just shaken the 100-meter world with wild times. Then Bednarek stepped onto the Diamond League stage and reminded everyone what the pros can still do. 19.69 was only the start of the problem. Before the Rabat Diamond League, the sprint world was already loud. College sprinters had just thrown fire into the 100 meters. Kanyansola Ajayi ran 9.84 and became the world leader. Sam Blaskowski ran 9.89 and became one of the biggest shock stories of the weekend. For a moment, it felt like the next wave had stolen the whole conversation. Then Rabat answered. This was not a college regional. This was the Diamond League. This was where Olympic champions, world medalists, and proven professionals had to show if they still own the sport's biggest stages. And the whole meet had that edge. Max Bergen stunned Emmanuel Wanyoni in the 800 meters. Yared Nuguse closed hard in the 1,500. Tina Clayton led a Jamaican sweep in the 100. Soufiane El Bakali gave the home crowd a world lead in the steeplechase. But the loudest warning came in the men's 200 meters. Kenny Bednarek lined up against a field that had real history, real medals, and real speed. Then he ran 19.69 and made the race look almost simple. That is why Rabat mattered. It reminded everyone that hype is exciting, but the professional stage still has monsters. Bednarek did not run 19.69 against a soft field. That is the first thing that makes the performance serious. Letsile Tebogo was in the race. He is the Olympic 200-meter champion from Paris. He is the man who beat Noah Lyles on the biggest stage and gave Botswana one of the greatest track moments in its history. Any race with Tebogo in it carries weight. Andre de Grasse was there too. De Grasse is an Olympic 200-meter champion and one of the best big race sprinters of the last decade. He had also owned the old Rabat meeting record. That gave Bednarek's win extra bite. The field had other sub-20 level runners and serious international quality. This was not a time trial where one man ran alone for the clock. This was a real Diamond League fight, and Bednarek won by a large gap. Tebogo finished second in 19.96. Sinesifo Dambale was third in 20.03. De Grasse finished fifth in 20.16. In elite 200-meter racing, 0.27 seconds over Tebogo is not a small gap. It is daylight. It is a statement that the race was controlled by one man. The race was scary because Bednarek did not wait for the straight to make his move. He attacked the curve with purpose. He looked smooth, but not soft. He put pressure on the field before anyone could settle. Reports around the race noted that he opened the first 100 meters around 10.11. That is the kind of bend speed that changes the whole race. When a 200-meter runner reaches the straight with that much speed and still has shape, the rest of the field has a problem. Bednarek's style is direct. He does not look like he is wasting steps. When he is right, he drives hard, keeps the shoulders under control, and makes the straight feel shorter than it really is. In Rabat, that pattern worked perfectly. Tebogo is a dangerous finisher, but he never looked like he had enough room to close the gap. De Grasse, who has built a career on championship timing, could not get near the front. The race was already in Bednarek's hands. The most frightening part was how he looked near the finish. He seemed to ease slightly before the line. Maybe that is just the visual of a man in control. Maybe there was more there. Either way, 19.69 did not look like the absolute ceiling. That is what makes the rest of the 200-meter world nervous. The men's 200 meters has been built around several big names. Noah Lyles is still the world championship king of the event. Letsile Tebogo is the Olympic champion. Gout is the teenage storm after running 19.67 in Australia. Ariane Knighton, Joseph Fonbola, and other names keep the event deep. But Bednarek has always been right there, and sometimes people still talk about him like he is only the silver medal guy. That is a mistake. He won Olympic silver in Tokyo. He won world silver in Eugene. He won Olympic silver again in Paris. Those medals show consistency at the highest level. But consistency can become unfairly boring when another man gets the gold. Rabat changed that tone. A 19.69 meeting record in May says Bednarek is not only waiting for others to slip, he is fit enough to win major races right now. That matters because the 200 meters is not a clean throne anymore. Lyles has the world titles, but Paris proved he can be beaten. Tebogo has Olympic gold, but Rabat showed he can be beaten too. Gout has the future, but he still needs senior proof. Bednarek just placed himself right in the middle of that fight. The Bednarek race was the main event, but the whole Rabat meet had a warning theme. Max Bergen opened his season with 1:42.98 in the 800 meters and beat Emmanuel Wanyonyi, one of the most dangerous 800-meter runners in the world. That was not a quiet opener. That was a statement that the event may be less predictable than expected. Yared Nuguse won the 1,500 meters in 3 minutes 30.35 seconds, holding off Isaac Nader in a tight finish. Nuguse showed that his kick is still a serious weapon when the pace is fast and the race gets sharp late. Jackery Patterson ran 44.11 in the 400 meters, another big mark in an event that has become crowded with danger. Tina Clayton won the women's 100 meters in 10.85 and led a Jamaican top 3 sweep, reminding everyone that Jamaica's sprint pipeline is still alive. Then Soufiane El Bakkali gave Morocco the emotional home moment. He ran 7:57.25 in the steeplechase, a world lead, and made the Rabat crowd feel like part of the race. But even with all of that, Bednarek's 19.69 had the clearest message. The pros heard the noise from the younger names. Rabat was the answer. Noah Lyles cannot ignore this race. Lyles is still one of the greatest 200-meter runners ever. His 19.31 American record is far faster than Bednarek's Rabat time. His world titles give him a resume nobody in the event can casually dismiss. But the 2026 question is not what Lyles has done before. It is how many threats are building around him now. Tebogo already beat him for Olympic gold. Gout is coming with a teenage time that has everyone staring. Bednarek just beat Tebogo by almost 3/10 and ran a meeting record while looking controlled. That is a lot of pressure on one event. For Lyles, Bednarek is especially dangerous because he is not new. He has raced Lyles many times, knows the rhythm of major finals, and knows what it feels like to be close. That experience can turn into hunger. Rabat does not make Bednarek the favorite over Lyles, but it makes the next meeting more serious. Lyles must deal with a man who is running fast enough to create problems. A 19.69 in Rabat does not decide the season or erase Lyles' 19.31, Tebogo's Olympic gold, or championship history. It is early, and athletes are at different points in training. Bednarek still needs the biggest gold against the deepest field. The correct take is not that Rabat ended the debate, but that it made the debate much more dangerous. Bednarek showed early speed and control. Now he has to carry it through the season and produce the same threat when everyone is peaking. The time was huge, but the manner was louder. He did more than win, he separated. He controlled the race and made world-class sprinters look like they were fighting for second. That changes how rivals prepare. They cannot wait to catch him late or assume he will only medal if someone else has a bad day. They must treat him like a man who can take the race early. It also changes his confidence. A sprinter who wins like that in May knows his bend is working and his finish is strong enough to beat an Olympic champion. Bednarek has reason to be brave. If he stays in the 19.6 range, every major start becomes a threat. If he dips into the 19.5s, the event changes again. Running 19.69 this early gives him room to grow. Tebogo, Lyles, and Gout will answer, but Bednarek has forced them to look his way. Rabat gave him leverage in the conversation. The man who used to be the silver threat may be turning into a winner waiting for the right final. Kenny Bednarek destroyed the Rabat 200 meters, beating the right people at the right moment. 19.69, a meeting record, a loaded field left behind. After Rabat, Bednarek may be the story everyone else has to chase.